because he's not consistent, and because he's still a diehard anti-communist and has always been, he can help win over some more liberal people who become more sympathetic to leftist critiques, and then eventually they see his weaknesses. While also understanding that, Chomsky has done a lot of good things, but he definitely has some weaknesses.
All right, I think we're getting too far afield. I don't agree with your guys' characterization of him. I don't think you can call him, for example, a diehard anti-communist. I think he cheered the fall of the Soviet Union because he saw it as
this is a long conversation, but Aaron, he repeatedly referred to the Soviet Union as an open-air prison. Chomsky has been a lifelong diehard anti-communist.
He saw it as a system of tyranny. And
he called it an open-air prison. He called the Soviet Union an open-air prison.
Okay, I don't know that quote. I'll look it up. I promise I will.
Chomsky has done a lot of important things, and some of his books are very important.
He spent his life criticizing and being attacked by actual diehard anti-communists who wanted to silence him. So I just don't know if you can characterize him as a diehard anti-communist. He was critical of the Soviet Union.
Well, that's the irony of anti-communism, is they always go, that's the irony of HUAC and all these institutions, is they always go after people who are insufficiently anti-communist. But anyway, whatever.
I'm not going to criticize Chomsky for calling the Soviet Union a tyrannical system. It was. My father lived under it. So, and I don't think he ever minimized the crimes of U.S. imperialism and U.S. imperialism's role in actually making the Soviet Union even more authoritarian, actually preventing its development. He never minimized that. So anyway, but I think we're getting too far afield. What I think in this case is that, as I said, I think he sees this authoritarian in Syria, and he's conflated the real democratic sentiments that existed in those early months of 2011 with the dirty war that was imposed on Syria. And there's this tendency to hold Assad responsible solely for crimes that were committed as a result of a war that he did not start. And I think that Chomsky's fallen for that, and I think it's too bad. But I think it's worth debating. At the same time, Chomsky is still signing letters in support of the OPCW whistleblowers. If you were to ask him to sign a letter condemning the U.S. sanctions on Syria, he would. So I just think, I don't want to go to, I think this was awful in signing this, and I told him that. But I personally will disagree. I don't go as far as you guys do in my critique.
Is Ajit Singh anywhere in the building? Or what happened?
Yeah, I'll get Ajit on if you want to transition and conclude on Syria.
Yeah, we could talk about it all night, but I think it's important to cover the China issue because that's the new chosen evildoer of our time, and you should put it on screen. Here, I'll send it to you right now. But there is a fairly new poll out by Gallup, and there is a new high in perceptions of China as the U.S.'s greatest enemy. And only a few years ago, most Americans viewed China favorably. I think 2018. In February 2020, only 22% of Americans viewed China as the greatest enemy. There was no clear consensus in the U.S. at that point on who the greatest enemy is. Now it's clearly China, and negative views of Russia have gone up. I think 3 out of 4 Americans see China and Russia in a very negative light now, which has gone up enormously in the past few years. So propaganda works. And the propaganda that we've been hearing most about China is very clever. It is designed to appeal to liberal sensibilities because it's much easier to get Republicans and the pro-Trump MAGA base on board with a campaign to demonize foreigners. And as I mentioned on a previous live stream, like being at the Capitol on January 6th, what I heard more than racist rhetoric or even anti-immigrant rhetoric per se, although it fits within the framework of anti-immigrant rhetoric, was anti-China rhetoric from the people storming the Capitol, to the point where they were even calling DC police and Capitol police CCP police. So that was easy, but getting the liberals on board has been, it's a little bit different, a little bit tougher because liberals want to be sensitive about being racist or they try to at least present themselves as tolerant enough to look in the mirror and put like stickers on their cars that say "Fight Hate." But the narrative focuses on the human rights situation, specifically in Western China. This has gotten the most traction, more than Hong Kong. And it's about Uyghurs being